Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Sim Racers Asia GT3 series, coming to you live tonight from Silverstone for the final round of this series, and it is round 10. Your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and I'm joined in the booth by Scott Newton. Welcome, Scott.
Hi Bernie, hi viewers. Very, very excited to be here for the final round of the Sim Racers Asia GT Championship here at Silverstone. Should be a good race. From the practice times that we saw, it should be very, very close, and yeah, definitely excited for the final round tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. The battle, though, is in the points, which we're about to go through in a moment, is going to be in the clubman. As far as the Pro-Am side of things go, the points are pretty much, or positions are settled, but we're still going to be in for a great race, folks. There's about 23 cars out there, and if you're wondering where Wei Han Chan is, well, you can see him. We've done the old Top Gear thing, haven't we? And we put him in the reasonably priced car and put him out on track.
Yeah, it should be good to see how he goes tonight. In the which number is he on the timing screen? Let me find him. Whoops.
Yeah, he's 74 or 14. Number 14, I think.
14. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, he'll be in the number 14 Mercedes AMG. So yeah, we'll have to see how he goes. Obviously one of our commentary cohort, and it'll be good to see him out on track tonight. Yeah,
we'll definitely be crossing to him later on in the evening. When he's not so busy at the moment. He's just jumped into the car, to be fair. He's done absolutely no practice out there, and he's been thrown in the deep end to qualify. So we'll see how he goes, currently sitting 25th. But let's have a look at the point score coming into this round, folks. And we can tell you Kevin Huang, Pro-Am Eurasia Simsport, he's taken out the GT3 Drivers' Championship. So far he's on 759 points. Shazrin Jali, the other Pro-Am for YLab Ace, he's normally in the BMW. He takes out second in the Pro-Am Cup on 720 points. And Ahmed Nurazim, driving for YLab Ace, he's third in Pro-Am and third outright. Now we've got Alex Pole will be finishing in fourth. Now the battle is going to be between Frederico Duarte Joachim Taxiera there for Macau Sim Racing. He's on 506 points in clubman, and his club teammate Simon George Sanchez, he's also Macau Sim Racing. He's on 506 points. So those two will definitely be battling it out. 496, sorry. So they're separated by 10. They will be battling it out tonight. Unfortunately, Mod Zafri Zanudin, he's not in the server tonight, so he won't take part in that battle, Scott.
Yeah, well, Zafri Zanudin's got about 9.5 minutes to register himself at the server, so he could still be in this championship, but yeah, currently at the moment he's not in the server, so at the moment it's looking as though it's going to be a 2-horse race for that championship.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that, folks, as the race progresses, and try to keep you updated on how those two drivers are going. Looking at the team championships, well, this is also pretty much settled now. YLab Ace will take out the team championship on 1,857 points coming into tonight. Delta Sim Sport in second on 1,659. Macau Sim Racing Team third on 1,632. So those three are pretty much settled as far as the top three goes. Macau Sim Racing Development Team, they will be classified in fourth, with YLab Osum classified in fifth position. So that's your team championship wrapped up, folks.
Yeah, great job there from YLab Ace to seal that team championship, and also Delta Sim Sport right up there as well. It looked as though they were going to close up during some parts of the season, but yeah, YLab too strong, and yeah, with the eventual victors of the team championship.
Yeah, that's right. So it's good to them good on them, Wile Base, to take that out. Now, looking at the weather out there at the moment, folks, it's pretty hot, 36 degrees Celsius or 97 degrees Fahrenheit, depending where you're watching from the world, and it's clear. So it's going to be a hot day for the cars, but it's only a 45-minute race, so I'm not expecting them to have any problems whatsoever with their tyres. But it'll be interesting to see, Scott, how the drivers approach this 45-minute race.
Yeah, definitely. With a 22-degree ambient temperature, yeah, it's quite cool out there. But yeah, as you say, with the 39-degree track temperature, it will be a little bit slippery for the drivers. It pretty much would feel similar to like a partly cloudy 40-degree track temperature. So yeah, be slippery and sliding towards the end of the race. But yeah, don't think we'll see drivers taking tyres due to the way that the pit stops work.
Yeah, that's right. I don't expect it either, quite honestly. But as far as folks new to the series, what we can expect tonight, 45-minute time certain race. The fuel limit is 50% limited. They will be required to do one stop tonight. Incident points is limited at 20 and they get one fast repair. But apart from that, no driver changes. It's just a straight-out sprint race for 45 minutes. And generally, Scott, these are action-packed, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. We've also come to expect that every week with the quality of driving in this series, as has it been for the past couple of years when I was competing in this series. So yeah, it's always good to see some spicy and competitive action, and yeah, definitely can expect that on track today.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got 5 minutes 50 left of qualifying here, folks. So at the moment, Brad Watson in the Audi, he's provisionally on pole with a 146.037, almost in the 145s. But he's got Louis Paulo Gallen right on his tail with a 146.180. Expect these two to be battling it out very closely tonight, and don't discount Anthony Winkelman in third, 146.215. So he will be driving in a BMW, and then Kevin Huang, our driver champion in the McLaren, he will also be out for a win. He did really well last week at Nordschleife, and I think he ended up taking that race coming through the field. So he'll be wanting to go out on a high tonight here, Scott.
Yeah, definitely. The Sol McLaren out there today. And having a look at the race results from last week, unfortunately I wasn't here. But yeah, Kevin did a great job finishing second to Abirafti Putra, I think, took out the win last week. So yeah, Kevin doing a very, very solid job at the moment. Yeah, very, very strong. Top five at the moment. The top five at the moment is covered by about 9/10 of a second. So big gap between Kevin and Winkelman at the moment, but I'd expect that to come down a little bit further with 4 minutes left of qualifying.
Yeah. And for those that missed that race, Putra, he moved up 16 positions to take the win, and Kevin Huang, he moved up 14 positions. You know, they were starting midfield at Nordschleife. We didn't think they were going to be so strong, but as Nordschleife is very, very punishing, they went out for a 1-2 finish. So it was a very interesting race, that's for sure. But you can see Brad Watson at the moment still out there starting another flying lap. He doesn't feel safe yet with 3 minutes 40 to go. But Louis Gallen, where's he at the moment? He's also on a flying lap.
Yeah, he's just coming out of Club and Vale, heading up into Abbey now. The former Sim Sports driver doing a good job at the moment as he navigates his way through Abbey. Taking the coast really, really nicely over through into Bridge Corner. You want to take it fairly wide, but you want to have to cut back in to get the line right for Priory. Running out wide into Brooklands. You want to take a little bit of the sausage curve, but you navigate that really, really nicely. just runs a little bit deep, but that looks as though he's about to start a qualifying lap, to be fair.
Yeah, that was his out lap. He's about to start now, and we'll see what he can do. It's really, he's really only after 1/10 of a second, and when I say only, that can feel like a mile when you're right on the edge at the level of racing these guys are at tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Top three at the moment, average high rating of at least 5 to 5,500. So yeah, it's a pretty strong top three at the moment. But yeah, there's obviously some drivers that have might have a little bit lower rating, but obviously just as quick. So never count out anyone that might have a lower I rating. But yeah, definitely some talent in this field today.
Yeah, there certainly is, and we can see now we've got Louis Paulo Gallen there on our screen. We'll keep an eye on him as he finishes this flying lap, and we'll see what he can do now. He's just coming down through Vale up to Club, and then he'll come down into Abbey and Farm. So what's your thoughts about Silverstone, Scott? Do you like it, or you don't like it?
This particular layout of, as we see, Louis Paolo just monstering that Abbey curve there, but yeah, but lost a bit of time there. But yeah, Silverstone, one of the all-time greats, I think, especially in the F1 circuits. Definitely a favourite track for me. But yeah, with the layout that we have here today, it's the pre-2010 layout, and I actually prefer this layout, to be fair, other than the new one where it turns right at Abbey instead of left. So yeah, it's always good to see this layout still here on iRacing.
Yeah, so Louis' lap was not counted there, but he was in the 147s anyway. So as you said earlier, quite a slow lap. Brad Watson sitting in the pits at the moment, probably getting that car sorted. Got Anthony Winkleman out here on his out lap. He might get one flying lap after the checkered comes out if he crosses the line before then. 37 seconds ago here, folks, until the end of this session. Just having a look out there as well. Our driver in the reasonably priced car at the moment, Weehan's qualified in 21st position at the moment. So we'll see how he goes. But yeah, he's not at the bottom of the list. That is actually Jazreen Jali at the moment, who hasn't gone out and set a time yet.
Yeah, it's good to see that Weehan's put in a decent lap time given the amount of practice that he's had. But yeah, qualifying's just ended now. Checker flag is out, so we'll see whether anyone will improve on their final laps. Winkleman coming through Maggott and Beckett's now. So he'll be about another minute or so before he crosses the line.
Yeah, so he should be able to make this time in before they run out of the the 2 minutes or whatever it is past the session time here.
Yep. We've got Martin Silvassi heading up into Abbey now in his BMW car number 10, sitting P number 5 at the moment on a 1 minute 46.91. Navigates through bridge corner fairly nicely. Runs out wide to the exit curb on the Exeter Priory through Brooklands. It's a little bit of a slide on the exit there, but manages to keep it together and around Luffield and wide on the AstroTurf. You definitely want to use that in qualifying. At around Woodcote now, and across the line does he improve on a 1 minute 46.6. So that moves the opponent into 4th position. So great lap time for him.
Yeah, awesome lap time. And while we're watching that, Winkleman has aborted his lap. We've got Kevin Huang, 5th fastest at the moment. He's only on an out lap, so that won't be counted. Chris Hill, he's come into the pits. What's Brian Renfors doing? Brian is on a runner, but he's just going to have to abort that now, because as he does, because he would have had an off track and it would not have been counted. So that's pretty much your qualifying done and dusted here, folks. And for the folks interested in the Clubman Championship, we had Simon George Sanchez qualify 13th, Federico Duarte Joaquim de Rocha Texiera, he qualified in 18th, I think. But we better get through the grid here because we're going to be racing very, very shortly. So taking
the pole position for the final round of SimRacers Asia GT Series here at Silverstone, Brad Watson takes it on a 1 minute 46.037, so just couldn't get into the 45s, but yeah, great lap time for him. 10th and a half back on the the front row is Louis Palagallon. On the second row, alongside him is Mike Salvasi, Kevin Wang, P number 5, Matt Morris alongside him for 6th place, Chris Hill in 7th, first man in the 47s on a 1 minute 47.341, Ahmad Nurazam alongside him in 8th, Lachlan Crowe and Leonard Cuxey round out the top 10 on row number 5. Clint Smith sits 11th place, Matthew Kidd in 12th place, Simon Jorge Sanchez in 13th, Alex Pohl 14th, Stephen Grimmer, new name to the series, in 15th place, Rob Harris in 16th, as you say, Federico Duarte Joaquim de Roca Texeria in 17th, Sam Devantier in 18th, Zhan Yang is in 19th, and Azrael Nazli rounding out the top 20. RRTV cohort is in Weihan Chan, it sits 21st, and rounding out the qualifiers, Hugo Silva Jr. in 22nd. Jason Bentz, Yasmin Yali, Michael Hammond, Niranjan Kumar, and Brian Renfors round out the field with no time.
So we'll see, looks like they are on the grid though, so we'll see how they go. You can see there Yazza and Yali lining up next to Weihan Chan, so there's Weihan there in the number 14. We'll see how he goes in the reasonably priced car. Sam Deventia, it's great to see Sam out here. He was having trouble with his trading paints coming into this session, and looks like he's got that sorted, so that's fantastic to have him out there running again tonight in the SRA.
Yeah, definitely. I might be having some trading paints issues as well, because I don't see many. I see many liveries from previous rounds, but some of them haven't been updating, so especially with drivers like Louis Paolo and Winkelmann. I know that they're Louis is in Performance Sim Sports, and I'm pretty sure Winkelmann's in Trick Sim Sports, so yeah, unfortunately I don't have paints for them, but yeah, it's also good to see everyone out here tonight, and yeah, looking forward to tonight's action. We've still got about a minute or so, about 1 or 2 minutes to go before the race actually starts due to the long pace lap.
Yeah, that's right. And the second row, that's a lockout of Trick Sim Sports, and you can see both those BMWs lining up behind the Mercedes and the Audi number 88. Don't worry, folks, he'll get out of the safety car soon. I think he's just trying to make a hybrid or something. So it's going to be interesting to see how Federico and Simon approach this race, and see if they can, if it's going to change the outcome of the Clubman series.
Yeah, I'm just trying to actually find out the point scoring system from the forums, just to see like how much of a position gap there must be for, I think, Simon to overtake Federico, I think, in the championship, or it could be the other way around. I can't remember exactly, but let's have a quick look now to find what the points gap is.
Okay, while you're doing that, we'll continue on here. We can see Brad Watson now. He's starting to warm those tyres up right next to him in the 21. That's Louis Gallon there in the West End Mazda WP Concreting PSS livery there, and we'll see what that Mercedes can do off the line. As we look further back down the field, we can see the MSRT Mazda, Mercedes starting to warm up as well. So it's going to be interesting. 27 starters here tonight, folks, as we see them come back into the stadium for the first time, and we'll be racing here very, very shortly as they just make their way through the stadium complex.
Yeah, everyone pretty much ready to go, I think. The final couple of corners to go. Did you want to take the start for this one, Bernie?
Yep, not a problem. So basically they're going to go on green, folks, waiting for the safety car to come in, and then Louis Gallen will have control of this field, waiting for the safety car in. It's in now, waiting now for the green light. We're in starters orders. Here we go. And looks like Louis Gallen there had a very slow start. He almost got taken out by one of the Trick Sim Sports BMWs, and that Audi, boy, did it go.
Yeah, definitely. Brad Watson got a great start, just looking further back in the field. People going too wide, too deep. There was a bit of contact between the number 13 as Dan Young and I think it was another one of the Mercedes, I think, that got tangled up in that contact, but looks as though that everyone else managed to get through for a clean start.
Yeah, that was Louis Gallen there in the Mercedes. He had a slow start, and it was that young Zahn that was in the BMW, was it? That got, no, it wasn't. But he had a slow start, and they were really monstering him, weren't they? And unfortunately, the BMW cut across his nose, got turned, and he's going to have a lot of work to do. But as they come through, at the moment, on lap 1, we have Brad Watson in the Audi. He's got a lead by a country mile. Louis Gallen second. Third, Martin Silvassi. Fourth, Matt Morris. And rounding out your top 5 is Kevin Huang. And he's got Chris Hill right behind him, and Ahmed Nurizm in the Ferrari also keeping up with these three.
Yeah, just having a look at a incident between Lou Pellegallen and Anthony Winkelman coming up into Maggots and Beckett's, and it looked as though that Winkelman was alongside him, but yeah, trying to cut back on him, and yeah, unfortunately got turned. So yeah, an unfortunate mistake there for Winkelman. That puts him back in 19th place at the moment, down 16 positions. But yeah, he'll be looking to make a recovery from where he is at the moment, making up a couple of positions, as I say that, back up into 17th.
Yeah, and Wei Han Chan at the moment, he's in 18th position. He's just trying to keep out of the way of the faster drivers as they come through. But as they complete lap 1 here, Brad Watson, he has a gap over Louis Gallen of 1.6 seconds. So you could see Gallen, he was really balked on the start there. I think he was surprised that Watson went before the green. So that's what I think he was waiting on. But of course, as soon as Watson went, the rest of the field went as well. And poor Louis, he sort of backed up the field.
Yeah, you can go just before the green, as long as the safety car is in the pit lane and you don't overtake it, then you won't get the black flag for jumping the start. But yeah, just unfortunately Louis Pelle probably didn't get the best, well, didn't give the best read of what Brad was doing, and yeah, as you say, got caught out, and yeah, he's back 1.6 at the moment. The gap has stayed relatively the same as they have across the start-finish line, so the gap not really extending at the moment. So yeah, still 1.6 between the first two. Looking a little bit further back in the field, battle for, was that 13, 14, 15, 16, looks like Winkelman trying to come back through, sitting in 15th, diving up the inside into Priory. Good move there on Jasmine Yarley. Up into Brooklands, his next target will be Federico. He'll not want to be in too much of a battle with Winkelman, because yeah, he just gets a great exit out of Luffield there, and yeah, gets out of the way of Winkelman as he'll be charging through the field. But yeah, Simon Jorge Sanchez, battle for Clubman at the moment, sitting in 10th at the moment. So great job from him. It looks as though at the moment Simon will overtake Federico for the battle for Clubman as well. So we'll have to see how Federico does as well during this course of the race. He's still got over 40 minutes to go.
Yeah, at the moment though, he's 5 positions down, and he's got Jazrin Jali coming from the back of the field, who did not qualify, working his way through the pack as well. But yeah, that gap up front now, 1.5 seconds from Watson back to Gallen. Gallen's slowly starting to pull him in, but he's got a lot of work to do, and you can see already they're coming up to lap young Zhang as he's now pulling that car up. He stopped on the circuit. Probably not the best thing to do, but I think he's just trying to get out of everyone's way.
Yeah, to be honest, I would have used that the exit road between Abbey, where the historic layout uses. But yeah, it's obviously good to see that Zhang Yang has jumped out of the way, being a lap car. So just looking to see Ahmed Nurazam and Clint Smith battle for 7th place at the moment. This one's pretty intense. Battle Mercedes versus Chris and Ahmed Nurazam. Sorry, they look fairly close on the lifetime that I used, but yeah, that Ferrari looking very, very quick as he looks up the inside, but yeah, can't get the job done at the moment. Has to sit back in line, and last time around, Nurazam was able to gain about 0.07 of a second on Chris last time around. So yeah, top 3 at the moment, all in the 1 minute 46s, but it looks to say that times are still fairly close out there between all of the drivers.
Yeah, there certainly is, and this is a good battle developing here at the moment. Looking further down the field, we've got Anthony Winkleman now into 11th after that incident he had on the front lap. He's just got past there Matthew Kidd in the Velocity Mercedes. Simon Jorge Sanchez right behind him. If we go back further down the field, we can see Velocity SimSports Rob Harris in 14th. We've got Yazrin Yali behind him, then Federico in 16th. For the fans out there, Sam Deventia, he's sitting in 17th at the moment in the 888 entry, and Weihan Chan, he is in a battle at the moment in 20th position, and he's got for company Brian Renfors and Stephen Grimmer.
Yeah, definitely good battle. As said, that 20. Sorry, that yeah, person sitting in 21st at the moment. That red and blue Mercedes. I think. Unfortunately, the trading pace hasn't updated for me, but I think that's Renfors and Weihan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Renfors jumping up past Weihan, up into the top 20. Good job for him. Brian's up 5 positions at the moment. And yeah, about to complete lap number 4 and start lap number 5.
For the cars that did not start here tonight, folks, the 012 of Michael Hammond did not make the grid, nor did Jason Benson the 100 or Nuranjan Kumar in the 777, nor did Azrael Nasli in the number 25. They all have been classified as non-starters.
Yeah, I think I saw that Azrael Nasli 3-pointed from the server, so unfortunately, yeah, that pretty much put paid to him starting. It was actually right in the gridding phase, I think. So yeah, it's certainly unfortunate for him. He was looking for a good result today, but yeah, unfortunately that disconnect put paid to that result.
And we're back on this battle for 7th and 6th at the moment, with Ahmed Nurazam here starting to close on the back of that Mercedes. We'll see what the Ferrari can do, and we'll also see what the strengths and weaknesses of these cars are, although the balance of power between all the marques these days are extremely close.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that I think the Audi got another 25 or 30 kilogram weight penalty, and the Mercedes got a 5 kilogram weight penalty just to balance it out in the latest update. So The Audi just that little bit slower, but also the Mercedes will get that tiny bit of weight penalty as well, just to balance it out. But yeah, Audi leading at the moment, Mercedes second, I think BMW third. So still a great balance between the balance of performance.
Yeah, we're riding on the roof cam here of Ahmed Nurizm in the Ferrari. Position 7th here, folks. You can just see the Ferrari closing up as they go down through Maggots, Beckett's and up onto the hangar straight. We should see the Mercedes start to stretch its legs a little bit, but the Ferrari should close right in under brakes here.
Yeah, definitely. It looks as though that Chris didn't get the best of entries, but yeah, was able to capitalise on the exit there. Into Club and Vale they go. Good line there for Chris as he navigates Vale now onto the short straight there that they have. Using all of the exit there, you can use that without getting a track limits penalty, so Chris utilising that to the full extent. But yeah, Chris actually gained 0.2 of a second last time around, so we'll have to see whether he's able to pull that gap again. But as they navigate through Brooklands now, everything looking fairly stable at the moment. But Nurizam running just that little bit wide, but yeah, Chris, as he almost come into contact, that Mercedes will get that great exit out of there and pull away gap at the moment, half a second at the moment.
Yeah, and where Chris is struggling is in turning in that Mercedes. We can see that's where the Ferrari is getting him, but once they come into the exit of that corner, that's when the Mercedes big V8 takes control and just projects him down the track. But at the moment, Brad Watson in the Audi, he's got a gap of 1.47 seconds over Louis Gallon here. Louis slowly closing that gap up, but he's only gaining probably about 1/10 of a second every couple of laps. But if we look at the top 10 as they stand here, folks, you can see the gap. So Martin Silvassi, he's 4.7 seconds down from the lead, or 3.3 seconds behind Louis Gallon. In 4th position is Matt Morris in the 966, and he's 1.4 seconds behind Silvassi. Then we've got Kevin Huang. He's starting to close in on the back of Matt Morris now. He's only 0.7 of a second behind, and we'll see what the McLaren can do. And don't discount this guy, because he's extremely competitive and the series champion for the drivers, so he'll want to go out on a high note for this final round tonight. So that's your top 5.
Yeah, good to see Kevin up in 5th position at the moment, putting all sorts of pressure on Matty Morris. That McLaren, definitely a quick car in a straight line, but yeah, definitely tail happy as they managed to navigate through Luffield and Woodcote now. Coming up into start lap number 8. Last time around for Matt Morris was a 1 minute 47.3 versus a 1 minute 46.9 for Kevin. So 47.8 for Matt Morris and 47.5 for Kevin. Apologies. Yeah, so 0.3 of a second gain for Kevin on that last lap, but yeah, we're looking to put all sorts of pressure up into this section of the track as they head through the hangar straight now, and coming up into was it Stowe Corner in the slipstream. It's Kevin. Doesn't close up as much as I thought, but yeah, Kevin not getting the best of exits, and yeah, the gap opening that couple of tenths that Matt Morris needs.
And Ahmed Nurizm there, he had a go at the back of Chris Hill there, locked up the rear on the Ferrari and had to take to the infield to correct it. That's dropped him back off that battle. They were separated by under 1/10 of a second when that just occurred, folks, so he's going to have to do it all again and start closing that gap. He's also going to have to keep an eye on Anthony Winkleman. He's up to 8th position now and flying, and I'll tell you what, that's a great recovery there from Winkleman, isn't it?
Yeah, sitting in 8th position at the moment. Great recovery for him. It was 1.4 seconds quicker than Nurazam last lap, so he should have him within the next lap or two, I would think, as the gap at the moment is about 0.4 of a second. But yeah, that BMW utilising as much of the track width as he possibly can as he goes on the AstroTurf. 0.3 of a second as they cross the line. Look at the lap time. Winkelmann 47.3 versus a 49.2 for Nurazam. So yeah, with that mistake, that last lap that cost Nurazam about a second. But yeah, Winkelmann thinking about the move, but yeah, doesn't get alongside into Maggots and Beckett's. It's where the problem that he had on the first lap. So definitely being a little bit cautious into that corner, just making sure that he gets a good run out of Chapel. Onto Hanger Straight they go. Just looking at the speeds at the moment, it looks as though that the BMW is not able to close up, but he'll be definitely deeper under brakes and closing up to the back of that Ferrari. He'll possibly look to go deeper under brakes, but yeah, not close enough at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's where the BMW is fantastic, is under brakes, and you can just see that now as he's all over the back of Nurazam. Just ahead of them, that's Chris Hill. These three are fighting for position. And we'll see now what's Winkelmann going to do. Is he going to throw it up the inside? He certainly is, and he's got to be careful here as him and the Ferrari go side by side, and that was a fairly close call, but great respect from both drivers there and a good move.
Yeah, as you say, great move there from Winkelmann, but yeah, it was a bit of a late move to be fair, but yeah, Nurazam saw him coming, and yeah, great respect, as you say. That promotes Winkelmann up into 7th place, down 4 positions from where he started. Next target will be Chris Hill. Yes. In the AMG Mercedes.
Yeah, and he'll close in on him pretty quickly. He's already on the back of him. We'll see what sort of a move he can make on that Mercedes just ahead of him. Having a look further up the field here, folks, and Matt Morris and Kevin Huang. Well, there's no real battle going on between these two at the moment. Kevin's dropped back a little bit, so really the battle is between Chris Hill, Anthony Winkelmann, Armin Nurazam just being passed.
Yeah, just seen that Yasmin Yali in the pit lane, so the pit window has opened. Winkelmann looking for a move up into Stowe. Puts his nose up there. Chris Hill seen him coming, but yeah, Chris will have the inside line for Club and Vale. BMW very, very strong under brakes. Tries to go around the outside, compromise that AMG, but yeah, Winkelmann threw a great move there to promote him up into 6th place.
Yeah, so Winkelmann's definitely on a charge here, folks. He did start in 2nd position, I think it was, or 3rd position, sorry. He got tangled up with Louis Gallon there as they went through Maggots for the first lap, and he dropped all the way back into the 20s. Right back into like 23rd, and already he's back up into 6th position and storming forwards. 27 minutes of this race to go, folks. There will be a mandatory fuel stop for these guys, and it'll be interesting, Scott, to see how the teams employ that strategy and whether they can gain any sort of track position through there.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that Yali had a 12.5 second stop for his BMW. So with that, if the leaders were to pit now, they'd come out about 3 seconds behind Wehan at the moment. But yeah, still got a fairly large pit window. Got about another 11 minutes of pit lane window available to all of the drivers. So as I see that Leonard Coxey and Zhang Yang have entered the pit lane, so some drivers taken to the pit lane, but yeah, as the fuel burns off, the cars will get quicker ever so slightly, so yeah, it'll be, I think, favoured for all of the drivers to pit at the later stage rather than get held up in traffic.
Yeah, we can see now Weehan Chan, he's in 19th position. Do you think we should bring him up and have a quick chat as he comes onto Hanger Straight here, Scott?
Yeah, you can do.
Oh, no, he's off the track. We'll come back to him later. He's probably waving to his mum saying, look, I'm on TV.
Closest battle at the moment on track is still the battle for 7th and 8th in Chris Hill and Aman Nurizam. Gap at the moment is still about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. Clint Smith doing a great job at the moment, sitting in 9th at the moment in his BMW. Good to see him out on the track. One of the managers of the iRacing Drivers Association. One of the series that he runs is the All-Star Shootout, and it's good to see him out on the track instead of running series. But I know that he's got a fairly big series coming up in the International GT3 Championship as well.
Yeah, that's right, and he's planning that at the moment, but keeping an eye on this battle between Chris Hill and Nurizam. It's starting to settle out a little bit now, but and you can see Clint Smith just behind them for those three. Where are we at here? Just having a look, Federico just dropped down a position because Sam Deventia in the Triple Eight just took him for 15th position as they'll be coming onto Hanger Straight now. 24 minutes of racing to go.
Yeah, looking at the battle for the club and championship, it looks as though that I think Federico might still have this, but we won't find out until after the race has ended due to bonus points being applied for incident point. Incident points that drivers are staying under. So obviously, if you have a clean race, I think you get 5 bonus points or something like that. So yeah, it's unclear at the moment on how many incident points that each of the drivers have. So we'll have to wait until after the race where that sits. But currently, with Simon, actually, did Simon get just promoted up into 11th? Because I think that will put them level on points, I think.
Yeah, he just did. He's got Matthew Kidd all over the back of him. He's just taken that position. And so he's up to 11th. Federico's in 16th. So you're saying they're now equal on points?
Yeah, it'd be very, very close. But like with Simon moving up into 11th and Federico up in 16th, that would put them at least within 1 point of each other or level, as it stands at the moment with no bonus points applied. So at the moment, Federico, I think, needs to get past Sam Deventia to retake that championship lead. But yeah, we'll obviously have to find out until after the race how those points are applied.
Yeah, either way, Macau Sim Racing Team will take out the Clubman Drivers' Championship, mainly because it's between two teammates here with Federico and Simon George Sanchez here at the moment. Looking at the pit target window that they'll be looking at here, folks. Scott's already given you the total time it takes them to go down through pit lane, but the actual time it takes them to put fuel in, that was a 12.6 second stop of fuel. So that's what the guys will be targeting. Leonard Cuxey, he did a 48 second stop, but I'd say he's throwing tyres on that car as well.
I would say that there's a speeding penalty on that too. Yeah. Because normally it takes about 30 seconds for a pit lane time, for a pit stop time. As I see Kevin in the pit lane as well. So the front runner's starting to dive into the pit lane now. We'll see what Kevin's pit stop time is, as he is currently in the box. Say 11.2 second stop. and he'll come out of roughly about 13th or 14th place. Rob Harris is just coming through cops now. Kevin will just be able to get out ahead of him. As someone in the background, who was that? So Sam Deventia crashing out of the cops corner, so that promotes Federico up into the pit lane. Up into that would have promoted Federico up into 15th, but yeah, he's in the pit lane at the moment, so I have to find out what happened to him.
Yeah, having a look at Sam Deventia now on replay here, Scott. So just having a look at what happened to Sam here. He's just coming through cops there and yeah, got it onto the ripple strip around straight into the wall.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get onto the AstroTurf out there. Pretty much you can go to the grey area of the curb there, but once you get on that AstroTurf, very, very slippery. And yeah, Sam unfortunately paid the price for that and has fallen back into 21st, having taken that tow. So yeah, let's just say that Federico has taken to the pit lane rather than being involved in an incident. So yeah, Federico is sitting in 19th at the moment, but Simon still has to pit. So we'll see how that will play out within the next about 5 or so minutes when all the drivers come in the pit lane.
Yeah, and Federico's stop was reasonably slow. It was 14.8 seconds total pit in the pit box time for fuel. So that was 2.2 seconds slower than Jazrin Jali and around about 3.5 seconds slower than Kevin Huang. So Simon Jorge Sanchez has he's got a little bit of room there to play with.
Yeah, definitely. The gap between Federico and Simon at the moment is 45 seconds. So at the moment, Simon will come out ahead. But yeah, if Federico can get about another 5 seconds of time on Simon, yeah, it'll be very, very close to see whether Federico is able to jump Simon in the pits.
And the battle continues here between Nurizam and Hill. You can see Clint Smith just in the background there trying to get in this battle. Nothing's really changed between the three of them. They're still shadowing and they're still... Nurizam hasn't had an opportunity to really make a move yet. So we'll see what he can do as he closes right in under brakes here. That's going to allow Clint Smith up on the inside, but then Nurizam will have the inside line as they come through the final corner here.
I see that Chris and Nurizam have dived into the pit lane, so that'll promote Smith up into 6th place. Be a battle of the teams for the pit stops, but one of the tactics, Chris hits the pit lane wall. Not sure what happened there or what caused that, but yeah, that'll hinder him slightly. Nurizam might jump him in the pit lane.
Yeah, we've got the time on here. He goes, Nurizam did a 9.9 second stop. Chris Hill's stop was 12.4 seconds in the pit box, so it definitely did hamper him a bit. As we can see now, the Ferraris jumped the Mercedes through pit strategy. You can see Brian Renfors there just lifting to let the two go through and continue on with their battle.
Just looking a little bit further up, Matthew Kidd and Simon Jorge Sanchez battle for 8th and 9th at the moment. As they're coming up into Club and Vale, Macau Sim Racing versus Velocity Sim Racing team. As yeah, Simon able to pull away at the moment. Last time around, it was actually about 2.5 tenths slower. So Matthew closing up just a little bit, but the gap has opened up slightly. But going in the pit lane.
And Wei Han Chan now is in 19th. He's also done his pit stop. So once the pits stops have completed here, folks, we'll actually go and have a in-car interview with Wei Han and just see how he's finding the GT3 out there tonight. But we've still got probably around about 10 cars out of the field of 20 still in this race, 2 still pit. And looking at your top 10 as they stand now, we've got Brad Watson still leading. He's stretched that gap to 2.4 seconds over Martin Silvassi in second. Matt Morris, he's sitting in third in the Mercedes. And then Anthony Winkleman, awesome recovery drive there. He's up to 4th position. He's a total of 16.8 seconds down off the lead, and he's still yet to stop. We've got Clint Smith there. He's sitting in 5th position. 6th is Lachlan Crowe. 7th is Louis Gallon. He has made a stop, so we'll see where he ends up once all this shakes out. Simon Jorge Sanchez in 8th. He's got a bit of a gap now over Matthew Kidd, and both of these drivers need to stop. And then rounding out your top 10 is Kevin Huang in the McLaren, and he has made his stop. So Kevin's looking pretty good at the moment. He could be the dark horse of the group here.
Yeah, definitely. As Brad in the pit lane now to cover off Lou Pellegallon. Lou's pit lane time was 41.8 seconds, so that was roughly a gap that seemed fairly big, but yeah, Lou Pelle was 32 seconds back, so just watching to see where Brad comes out as Silvassi, Winkelman, Smith, Pro is in the pit lane. Matt Morris has taken the lead and stayed out, but yeah, Lou Pelle coming through Cops now, but looks as though that Watson has been able to retain the lead at the moment, so good job there for Watson. Callan still sits in a second on track effectively, but Morris still needs to pit.
Yeah, they're all starting to come through. So that's pit stop, 10.9 seconds for Gallon over Brad Watson, 11.3 seconds. And you can see on your screen how close those two are at the moment. The rest of the field have now come in to take their stops. And we're just now waiting on Matt Morris, who's leading. He's the last car out there to pit. And I'd expect he'd be coming in probably this lap. If not this one, definitely the next one.
Yeah, definitely. Generally, you get about 30 minutes out of the tank, so it's for him to stretch it out that much. He's done a great job. He's stretched it out that extra lap, so he'll have a shorter pit stop to get into the end. But you got about 12 minutes and 48 seconds left. So just waiting for Matt Morris to dive into the pit lane. We'll see whether he comes down this time by, and yeah, he is. So all of the drivers have come down the pit lane now. And yeah, we'll just wait and see where he rejoins. I think he'll rejoin right around Winkelman in 5th place.
Okay, so Winkelman's now just coming into the stadium here. So we'll keep an eye on Matt Morris and see exactly how close you are on your predictions here, right?
Yeah, gap when I was looking at it was about 32 to 34 seconds. So Matty having a sub 10 second stop, so great stuff for him. Winkelman coming around Cops now in the entry to Cops, and Matt Morris are already out of the pit lane, so yeah, great job for him. Matt Morris jumps up into 4th, but yeah, the hard challenge here, Winkelman will be trying to close all he can within the final 12 minutes of this race.
Yeah, and Matt Morris's actual pit stop time, folks, 9.5 seconds, and he almost got Silvassi through that. Silvassi just got him as he exited the pits, but the battle is now on between Silvassi and Morris for the last step on the podium. I'll just have a look at how Weehan's going down there, and we might bring him up and have a bit of a chat with him. Hi Weehan, you good to talk, mate?
Oh yes, good to talk.
How's it going out there, buddy? We were going to come across to you earlier, but as I was about to cross to you, you went off the track. So we thought we'd give you a bit longer to settle down. And it looks like you got the leaders coming up behind you, so we won't hold you up too much. Just tell us a bit about how this race is going for you.
Well, this race tonight, a bit disappointing for me because at around lap 1, right after the grid, I think I came into contact with my teammate, and that put him off. And here and there, I think my pace just isn't there around this track, so now I'm stuck all the way behind.
Okay, so where are you going to let the leader through? Is it going to be up here on the hangar?
Eh?
The leader's just going past you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to focus a bit, but yeah.
Right.
But this current track, I mean, I find that this track is actually not as easy to go off track compared to many other tracks that I've been to. I mean, part that's due to my substandard driving, but I do find that this track is quite fun with the right car.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to focusing on what you're doing, mate, and doing a good job, sitting 19th at the moment.
Right, see you.
Bye. Tell you what, I was getting nervous watching the leader coming up on him there.
Yeah, so was I. I see that Winkelmann's dived into the pit lane as well, so he must have underfueled the car or picked up a penalty of some sort. So Winkelmann, after charging through the field, finds himself back in 11th place.
Yeah, and it was 19.1 seconds was that second stop. The other one who's also made a second stop was Simon Jorge Sanchez. He's in 12th now with Federico in 15th, so that gap has also closed up.
Yeah, so as that stands, Federico will hold the championship, assuming that they get the same amount of bonus points. That's one of the stipulations that at least for me, that I'm holding out on declaring a champion at the moment. So, Simon trying all he can at the moment to close back up onto Federico, but at the moment, Federico doing a solid job at the moment, maintaining that gap.
Yeah, and Federico's got his mirrors full of Matthew Kidd behind him at the moment. He's not letting him go. It's like a kitten with a new plaything, and Matthew Kidd's just throwing everything he can at Federico at the moment. These guys have been pretty much inseparable now for last 3 or 4 laps at least. I thought Federico was going to get a gap on him, but then Matthew Kidd's come back. The other one is Brian Renfors is closing in on both of these guys as they're battling.
Yeah, definitely, with Renfors being 9/10 of a second quicker than Federico, but almost a second quicker than Matthew Kidd. So yeah, Renfors closing up very, very quickly. Gap between him, Renfors and Kidd at the moment is about 8 tenths, but battle between Kidd and Teixeira is right up in the 0.2 of a second mark. So Rodrigo trying to defend for all he can, but doing a great job at the moment as he manages to hold it through Cloven Vale.
Yeah, and as they were coming through the final corner there, you could just hear Kidd Morse coding on the back there, and he was giving him quite a forceful tap there. So let's hope he doesn't turn Teixeira around, because Teixeira's actually fighting for the clubman points here, and the last thing he wants to do is get involved in this battle, but he has to, because every single position he can hold on to counts towards where he's going to finish, either first or second on the podium. 6 minutes of racing to go, folks, and at the moment Brad Watson is leading this. In fact, he has led just about every single lap of this race. 20 laps out of 21 he's led. The only other car to have led a lap was Matt Morris, and that was because he was the last to pit.
Yeah, just having a look. There was an incident between Chris Hill and Lachlan Crowe going up into Bridge Corner, and yeah, Hill tried to go around the outside of Crowe, but unfortunately comes off worse as yeah, he's facing the wrong way through Priory, but yeah, manages to get it turned around safely, but finds him in 11th place at the moment after that mistake.
Yeah, we're just going to go back and have a look at this replay, folks, and see exactly what happened to Chris here. So we had Brian Renfors behind him. Maybe that's not Brian behind him. It looks like Brian's car. Yeah, they were fighting for position here, and they've just come together, just trying to get the 420 it was, and it's just taken the wing off that Mercedes and turned him. I don't think there was any contact, but there was enough there just to take the downforce off that car and turn Chris around. And that was Lachlan Crowe.
So what that's done is made Clint Smith close up to Lachlan Crowe. Gap at the moment is 0.6 of a second. So this is actually the the second closest battle on track with Federico, Matthew Kidd, and Federico, Matthew Kidd, and Brian Renfors. The closest battle on the track, three-way battle, is that Matthew Kidd looking up the inside, but yeah, unfortunately I'm on replay at the moment, so apologies for that.
It's all right, and we've got it live here. So Matthew Kidd's got past Federico. That's pushed Federico down to 16th. Simon Jorge Sanchez is in 12th. So 4 positions separate these two from who is going to claim the Clubman Championship. But as Scott said earlier, folks, we're not going to call it tonight. It's going to have to go down to bonus points before we'll definitely know who the Clubman champion is for this series. But we can see Brian Renfors, he's just trying to close in on the back of Federico now. Federico's got 3.5 minutes to hang on to this position. He's dropped off the back of Matthew Kidd now and into the clutches of Renfors.
Yeah, I think the points gap was about 5 positions delta from Simon to Federico, so he's currently sitting 4 positions back. So as long as Brian cannot get past him, I think Federico will have it if there's no bonus points applied.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's a certain yet, because Renfors is all over the back of Federico at the moment, and it looks like Federico's struggling all of a sudden. Maybe he's burned up those tyres, but he's dropped off Kidd and straight into the clutches of Renfors. Then behind them is Stephen Grimmer. We haven't seen much of him, but he is not far down the track either.
Now, last time Grimmer closed in about 0.9 of a second, so if these two start battling, yeah, he'll definitely look to close. Gap at the moment between Renfors and Grimmer is about 1.7 seconds, so we'll have to see how that plays out in the final 2 minutes of this race. Looking further up the field, Alex Poll and Rob J. Harris battle for 13th and 14th at the moment. Gap is about 0.4 of a second as they are coming through Beckett's and through Chapel. That 646 Audi's looking to put all sorts of pressure on the Mercedes of Alex Poll, but I think Alex was able to pull 0.3 of a second, so it might have been a recent overtake that Alex did, because yeah, it looks as though that might be gapping slightly, but having said that, Rob got a good exit out of Stoke Corner. Yeah,
so that battle's continuing there. We can see now Ren4s has dropped off the back of Frederico. As they were coming together there, he had to jump on the brakes to stop contact, but that's brought Stephen Grimmer back into this battle pack. Further up, Lachlan Crowe and Clint Smith are battling this out now for 7th and 8th. Clint's brought in about 0.6 of a second over Lachlan, and he's looking very racy indeed.
Yeah, definitely, as they're coming through Maggots and Beckett. So I'm actually having a look at the leader, because we've got 33 seconds left on the clock. We'll have to see whether this will be the white flagged lap or whether there will be one more. But looking at where Brad Watson is at the moment, I think this will be the final lap.
Yeah,
Brad's had a pretty dominant race, to be fair. His gap at the moment, 4.4 seconds to Lou Pellon, was never really challenged, but having said that, the gap never really grew to about 2 seconds in the early to mid part of the race. But yeah, his consistency and determination has allowed that gap to pull. But he will win the final round of the Sim Racers Asia GT Series here at Silverstone, so congratulations to him. Lou Pello Gallon for Performance Sim Sports will take second. Great job for him, 4 seconds back from Watson, and Martin Silvasti will round out the podium for, I think he's Trick Sim Sports, so congratulations to him, solid effort for him. Matt Morris will cross the line in 4th, and rounding out the top 5, series champion Kevin Wong in the McLaren.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Matt, because he's all the way down there now in 18th position. So Kevin Huang classified 4th, 5th Ahmed Nourism as he comes across the line now. Then Lachlan Crowe, followed by Clint Smith there. Yazrin Yali comes through in 8th. Anthony Winkleman will finish in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 will be Chris Hill.
Another battle. Alex Boll and Rob Harris, always they're going side by side through Brooklands there. Rob will look to get a good exit out of Luffield, getting on the power of that four-wheel drive, that Audi, getting good traction. But yeah, that Mercedes will hold on to the 13th place, and good job there for Alex. But unfortunately, Rob Harris couldn't get the overtake on the final lap. But good job for them. Matt Kidd will come across in 15th place. Frederico provisionally will hold the championship, I think, because of the position delta was lower than 5 positions for Simon to overtake. So we'll just have to wait and see once the session has concluded. When everyone crosses the line, we'll find out how many incidents everyone has, and we might be able to provisionally determine a winner.
Yeah, and there's a bit of frayed tempers out there as Frederico got into the back of Matthew Kidd after the race and turned him into the wall. So something must have happened out there. We saw that last week as well with, I think it was Matt Morris, served Yazrin Yali after that race, and that was because Yazrin and him were running first and second, and Yazrin lost control and took him out basically. And so anyway, interesting racing, very exciting. The points have come right down to the final round there for the Clubman Series, but provisionally it looks like Frederico is going to take that Clubman Series. So we should bring Weehan up. What do you reckon? See if he's still sweating.
Just going to run through the final race results. And whilst I do that, maybe you can bring Weehan up.
All right, let's go.
So taking the final round of the Sim Racers Asia GT Championship here at Silverstone, Brad Watson takes the win. Second place, Lou Palagallon for Performance Sim Sports. Martin Silvassi rounds out the podium in 3rd place. Matt Morris in 4th. Kevin Wong rounding out the top 5. Good performance of him, series champion. Congratulations to him on that. Ahmed Nourizam in 6th place. Lachlan Crowe in 7th. Clint Smith, good showing from him. first time out in a long while. In 8th place, Yasmin Yali in 9th place and rounding out the top 10, a recovering wingman. So good showing for him, but yeah, unfortunately had to take to the pit lane twice and found himself in the back of the end of the top 10. Chris Hill, after that collision at Priory, finds himself in 11th place. Simon Jorge Sanchez finishes in 12th. Alex Powell 13th. Rob Harris 14th. Matthew Kidd in 15th. Federico Duarte Rocking to Rocket Texeria in 16th. Stephen Grimmer in 17th. Brian Renfers, the first of the lap down cars, in 18th. Wei-Han Chang in 19th. And running out the top 20 was Linda Cutsey. Sam Deventia, first of the non-classified finishes in 21st. Zhang Yang in 22nd. And Hugo Silva Jr. is the last to take the start. And Azrael Nestle, Jason Benz, Michael Hammond, and Naranjan Kumar not taking the start.
So that's how they finished tonight, folks. And we will bring Wei-Han in first, and then we'll finish off the interviews with Kevin. Hey, Wei-Han, welcome back, mate. You survived. Well done.
Sorry, I got cut off from Kevin's conversation. Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, but I survived. Nearly did survive, though, because I was just a couple of points away from being disqualified.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it looked like we saw you have a few off tracks out there, but considering you had no practice at all, you jumped straight into qualifying. You didn't do too badly. You made 2 positions up, and you brought the car back without destroying it. So that's a good effort.
Yeah, looking at the bright side, that was good, but that was also because I took out my teammate at the start.
Okay.
1 position up.
Oh dear, so you're going to have to go and debrief with him, are you, or is it Rubbings Racing in your team?
Well, the worst part is he didn't know it was actually me who contacted him until I texted him.
And you drive for Red Bull, is that right?
Pretty much. Yeah, like my car's the same color, dark blue.
Yeah. And we're going to bring Kevin up in a moment. But before we do, Scott, do you have any comments or questions for Wei-Han before we go on to Kevin?
Yeah, it's good to see that Wei-Han out on track today. Obviously, usually up in the box here tonight. But yeah, it was definitely good to see him out on track. Obviously, a bit of a hairy moment when the leaders were coming through doing that driver interview. But yeah, good to see him out on track. And yeah, we'll either see him back in the box or out on track, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Great. Yeah, tried to let the leaders pass, but I need to have one thumb on the button and my hands on the wheel to get out of the way. But yeah, I think the racing was good, but perhaps the first few laps of the race were a bit less clean, less pleasant than I expected.
Fair enough. Well, let's bring Kevin up and we'll have a chat with Kevin. He had a better run. He came home in 4th position, and he's the Pro-Am champion from what I understand here, Scott. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
That's why I said your name. I was asking. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. Welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate, and congratulations for finishing 4th tonight, as well as taking out the Pro-Am Drivers' Championship for the Sim Racers Asia Apex Sim Series.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bernie. And Wei-Han here?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, thanks. It was a great season. Last race was anticlimactic. I was hoping I would do better. It's always, I don't know, like the champ. You always want to at least get on a podium if you're going to win the championship. But it's you don't get to spray the champagne, but you win the championship. It's kind of a up down kind of. It doesn't match, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, well, you weren't far off the podium. You finished fourth, but how'd the McLaren go out there? That's the only one competing in this series. So how did it go at Silverstone compared to the other Mark's car out there?
It was horrible. The balance. I feel like I'm getting understeer and oversteer. So I'm in the beginning of the race, the balance is okay, and then as the tires start to wear and the fuel burns off, I'm getting a little bit of understeer. But then there's some corners where I need to brake, like this. There's a corner before the hairpin, the last corner on the track. That gives me so much trouble because I have to brake a little bit. To get the rear to kind of drift out, so I can make the corner. Otherwise, it just understeers into the gravel trap. But if you just tap the brakes just a little bit too much, or if I overheated the rear tires in the previous few corners, it just twitches, and then if it twitches, I have to counter steer, and then I'm off into the gravel. And I lose like 0.2, 0.3 of a second. And I did that a few times, and I just completely lost Matt Morris. It's really not a good car to drive.
No, I know you're an old stalwart of the McLaren. Coming into next season, do you think you're going to campaign the McLaren, or do you think you're going to be looking at a different type of car to drive?
Probably, I think I'm going to try a different car. I've won the championship with the McLaren. That's I think that's good enough for me. I'm going to retire this old girl. She's getting a little bit worn out. It's going to have to put her out to pasture. It's not. There's some tracks it's good at, it's decent at, but over the course of a season, I don't know. I feel like I have to push the car to like the very, very knife edge just to finish fifth place. I can't take any more. I've already done maximum downforce here, and the springs at the softest, and you still can't get the rear to feel planted. So. Yeah, it's been a good run, but I'm probably going to run into probably Beamer next season.
Okay, yeah, because you've been campaigning that McLaren for quite a few years now, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's probably years. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think it was released in 2012, so I've been racing like 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a lifetime. That's like multiple careers in like real racing.
That's right. So yeah, it's been a long time. So, but anyway, congratulations, fourth place tonight and winner of the Pro-Am series. So that's awesome, and we look forward to seeing you next season and in that BMW, and we'll see how you go with that. Scott, have you got any questions for Kevin?
No, I just want to congratulate him on the series championship. Full congratulations to you, to be fair, because that McLaren is a definite beast, as you say, with the rear end of the car, and it's good to see that McLaren up in there and fighting in the championship. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I always one of the reasons why I drive McLaren is the main reasons I want. The iRacing allows 6 cars in the same class, and it's such a shame to just see like the same 3 or 4. So for the fans, for the YouTube guys, for all the spectators, I think it's so much more interesting to see 5 cars. I think this race we had 5 different cars, 6 different cars in the top 6. No, 5 different cars in the top 6. So. Partially thanks to me, it's just nice to see different makes up there. and see the advantages and disadvantages. I don't know if it's noticeable on the broadcast. I don't know if some cars are faster on the straights, some cars are faster on the corners. I don't know if it's apparent on the track. It's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, just have to find someone for the Ford GT, I think, to get the 6 out of 6.
We need probably a very fast alien to get. I've heard to get them into the top 5 because I heard that car's like second off the pace.
Yeah, I know that John Peasnick, if he's watching, he's one that I've seen that definitely takes the Ford GT. So if he's watching, we can have him in the series.
I think
if he. That's it. But
so while
congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we've got you up here, Kevin. We're looking at the Clubman Championship between Federico and Simon Jorge Sanchez. Have you got any news on who's won that? We think Federico may have.
If you give me 20 seconds,
all right.
I'll have it. I was calculating it right before I was brought into the interview room, so I'm almost done with the calculation.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a provisional calculation at the moment, but I want to double check. So, because I've got Simon on 564 and Federico on 562. So, because of that one incident point that Simon got, he got the 4 bonus points.
I didn't even calculate that.
So.
Oh, it's pretty easy because they both have the lowest. Their lowest points is 36. So basically, we don't need to calculate the drop race. So they both subtract 36 for their worst race, so they're even there. And then let me get the calculator.
Well, you guys, while you're doing that, I'm going to go through with the viewers what's coming up this week on RRTV, and then we will come back to you and Scott to tell us who's won the Clubman. But looking the week ahead here, folks, for RRTV, Monday night, Alex McCullough will be back with the Skip Barber Monday Night Lights. Then the next broadcast after that will be Wednesday night, and that will be the Australian Speedway League's Speedway Championships, and we'll have Bailey Hall and Sean O'Hara calling that. And then our last broadcast for next week will be the Australian Online Supercar Championship, which will be on the Friday night. So 3 broadcasts coming your way over the next week.
All right. I got the thing if you guys want to. So I got 526 for Federico and 524 for Simon. Is that what you got?
I didn't calculate the drop round. I just went based on the points that are on the forums at the moment, so I didn't calculate the drop round. But
okay, with the drop round, they both have a. But I didn't calculate the bonus points. So which
How about when you guys have worked it out? Let us know, and we'll tell the viewers on the Facebook page, because we could be here all night trying to calculate this.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let Kevin go, throw you back in the green room so you can continue with your slide rule, and Scotty and I will wrap up the broadcast.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. See you guys.
So, Scotty, it sounds like there's a lot to go that they're going to have to work out with all the bonus points, drop rounds and all that sort of thing. But so far, it's looking like Simon might have held on to it, or is it Federico? I can't tell.
Yeah, but on my calculation, I think Simon overtook Federico due to the bonus points that he got today. Okay. Given the fact that I didn't calculate any drop rounds coming into this race, I just went based on the points from ending round number 10 that were listed. I didn't factor in any drop rounds, as I said, but apologies for that. But it looks as though that on count back, given that they've had the same drop round points, Simon has overtaken Federico at the last round.
And we have to say that's provisional, folks, and keep an eye on our Facebook page. We'll let you know the official results once it's calculated. But on that, folks, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm sorry you had to miss the royal wedding to watch our telecast, but hopefully we were more entertaining than the royal wedding was anyway. But Scott, I'd also like to thank you, mate, for coming in and calling this series with me. It's the last round of SRA, so you'll get your Saturday nights back, mate.
It's always been good to come back and commentate on this series, and thanks for the opportunity, Bernie, for allowing me to do that. For myself, in the next coming weeks, be spotting for Apex Racing UK in their bid for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so it'd be good to get back into that as well. It's always quite hectic on a Saturday night, broadcasting at 8 o'clock, and then spotting for World Championship at 9:30. So it's always a pretty busy Saturday night. But once again, thanks, Bernie, for allowing me to do this, and but also mainly thanks to all the viewers for tuning in, and also to all the drivers in the series for putting on a good show.
Yeah, and we also need to thank Wei Han Chan for also doing the commentary. He's been working hard in the background as well when he's not commentating, doing all the graphics, posters and all that. And Kevin Huang, of course, who's one of the organisers of this series, so thanks also to him. But most importantly, folks, thanks to all you, the viewers, for tuning in and watching this telecast and this series. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to have your company again soon. So on behalf of Scott Newton, Wei Han Chan, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll hopefully catch up with you again soon. Good night.